We're gonna start a segment that I like to call "Straight No Chaser." The name speaks for itself. It's raw, uncut, no fluff. Not meant to offend anyone, but I'm sure there are some of those that, as we continue to do these, might feel some kind of way about it. Today, I just want to be real brief. I want to talk on 3 points. One is this criminal justice system here in the United States of America. 2 is the Zimmerman Trial. And point 1 and 2 will definitely be looped together. And 3 is the black-brown unity issue with my Latino, Hispanic brothers and sisters. First and foremost, the Zimmerman trial, which has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now, it has my community in an uproar. What's puzzling me is how we are so emotional about the possibility of justice not prevailing. Where have some of us been living, for the last 100+ years? And I know it goes back deeper than that, but, in this system, a defendant that has money or the access to money has always been able to, let's just say, curve justice, has always been able to minimize the punishment or escape punishment, period. What makes you think this is any different? Access to money gives you access to attorneys with connections. It literally enables you to buy freedom. Why are we so puzzled? Why are we letting this eat at our souls? And why are we letting this affect how we are in our daily activities? Now, don't get me wrong. Those that know me know that I am one of the first people on the line to fight for justice when it comes to inequality. But I'm not naive to the fact that if you have money, money buys you access in this country. It's not about what you can prove. It's not about right or wrong. Excuse me. In this system, it's about what you can prove or what you can hide. So let's please not forget that as we're dealing with this Zimmerman trial. Now, having said that, listen, with the work that I have done in the past with Reverend Al Sharpton, the National Action Network, when this Zimmerman Trayvon Martin first jumped off, there was a lot of work being put in, and it's comical, but that's just how it works. It's comical now to see all the experts, everybody engaged in what was once unheard of. Nobody cared anything about this trial. Let me get to point 2. I'm torn whether justice will be served. Again, if it's not, it won't surprise me. But if justice is not served, not for the reason that some people are claiming. The parents of Trayvon Martin, the mother and the father, I think they are outstanding individuals considering what has happened to them. I have a 19-year-old son and a 7-year-old son. I can only imagine how I would feel. I've had the opportunity to meet both of them. So what I have to say, again, is my opinion. It's straight no chaser. I don't mean any disrespect. But one thing that's troubled me is the focus of this 911 tape, the focus of who is screaming for help. Listen, let's just be real. I personally don't believe it is Trayvon Martin screaming for help. But what difference does that make? You know, let me explain my point before I upset some of you guys. You know, you had the father that initially said he couldn't tell if it was his son. You've got the mother who says that is her son. Unfortunately, I think that has taken this prosecution down the wrong path. It has set the tone for whoever is screaming for help on that 911 tape is the victim. But I beg to differ. The screamer does not have to be the victim. Honestly, people, in this particular situation, we got Zimmerman who sits in his window and, calls 911 umpteenth times throughout the year. I'm sure some of you out there have, met individuals or know individuals that just love to sit, on their porch or, love to play the quote-unquote wannabe cop, wannabe detective. But then when the shit actually hits the fan, when you actually have to engage that individual, they're soft as fig Newtons, cotton candy, or a baby's bottom. And I think Zimmerman fits that mold. He is a person that wanted to be a law enforcement officer. I think it goes without saying that it's documented that he followed this boy, and even engaged him. And it's my belief, my humble opinion, that when he engaged him, he got put on his behind. When he engaged him, that boy gave him something that he really needed at that time. When he engaged Trayvon, the tables were turned. And I really believe at that point in time, that man started screaming for his life, pulled that pistol, and killed this boy. Now, here's why that's so important. Because we're so stuck on this is Trayvon screaming for help. And we're so stuck on the one that is screaming for help is the victim. But like I said earlier, I believe this man pursued him. That's not even a belief. We know that. He pursued him. He engaged him. And then at that very moment, he got flipped on his bottom. The tables turned for Zimmerman. And at that very moment, like the punk that I really believe he is, he screamed for his life, and he pulled his pistol, which we know is fact, and shot Trayvon. I don't a bit more believe Trayvon was screaming for help because Trayvon was handling his business at the time. As I've stated over and over again in various rallies, that Trayvon was standing his ground. I know we're not using the standing your ground gun law, which is another crazy element of this case for Zimmerman to be arrested finally and base his defense on that stand your ground gun law. And when it's time to present evidence to support that defense, they retract, which is amazing to me. That's one aspect of the law that we really need to focus on. If I switch my defense when it's time to present the evidence to support that defense, how in the world am I not stamped guilty at that point in time? That's a whole nother issue. People, the one screaming for help does not have to be the victim. To wrap point 2 up again with a bow, we know that Zimmerman pursued that boy. We know that Zimmerman engaged Trayvon. And we know that there was a scuffle. I think Zimmerman felt that he was going to detain Trayvon until the police came, and he found a whole different story when he engaged this young man. And this young man had every right to put Zimmerman on his behind. But here goes the gray area. The minute the tables turn, the minute Trayvon put Zimmerman on his behind, the minute Trayvon starts giving Zimmerman what I call the business, this grown man screams for help, pulls out that pistol, and ends this boy's life. Listen, whether you believe me or not, that is an avenue that the prosecution should at least take. I know out of respect for the mother saying that that is her child, I think this is what has caused us to go left from the beginning. We're not even looking at the possibility of that scenario. We're not even thinking about the possibility that the screamer on that 911 tape does not have to be the victim. If you look, the defense has brought on witness after witness after witness after witness, and they're testifying to mainly one thing, that's Zimmerman's voice on that 911 call. And to that position, I say, and what? What if it is? So, it still has nothing to do with him being the orchestrator, the aggressor, the whole cause of this big mess, which has left this boy dead. Too late for the prosecution to kind of branch off and explore another avenue. And if justice does not serve the just, then we got two reasons why. Number one, the prosecution not even exploring that avenue, being so stuck emotionally on the mother's testimony, which again, mean no disrespect. It's not about feelings in that courtroom. It's not about feelings. Trust me, anybody that's ever dealt with courtroom issues knows it's not about feelings. So I don't mean any disrespect again to Trayvon's mother. But I think the emotion that has gotten bundled up in this case has caused the prosecution to totally ignore another possibility. Last point. This case is also giving my Hispanic, Latina brothers and sisters, however you want to speak on it, a false perception of this justice system. Let me just keep it real. Told you straight, no chaser. The powers that be of this country don't care for your kind just as much as they don't for mine. Let's just be real. But the difference here is this case has somehow in a crazy, twisted way become a black and white issue. It's ignorant. It's black and brown. I've heard several people say that if Zimmerman was a black guy, we wouldn't even be talking about this issue. They're somewhat right, but for the total wrong reason. We wouldn't be talking about this issue, number one, because that individual would have been arrested day one. Or we wouldn't be talking about this issue because that individual would have got off scot-free from day one, regardless of the pressure, regardless of anything. To my Latino brothers and sisters, this country is somewhat divided when it comes to the Zimmerman trial. There's a lot of Caucasian, white support for Zimmerman. But I say in that same breath, let one of my Latino brothers and sisters that is less fair skinned, right? That is a little more kinky hair. Let you be sitting in that seat. You won't get that same support around the country. Zimmerman, I just got to tell the truth, fits the mold of the powers that be in this country. And I'm talking about my Caucasian brothers and sisters. Now, to my Caucasian people that are of good mind, of good spirit, morally sound, this ain't meant for you. But please believe, we have a whole nother element of those out there, those that are in powerful positions, those that pass judgment on a daily basis. We'll talk a little later date about the criminal justice system in a whole. But back in the day, way before my time, light-skinned brothers and sisters that had wavy hair or that made their hair wavy. Used to be called passing for white. Used to get certain advantages because they were more fair-skinned. Used to be able to reap certain benefits because they looked more like the Caucasian persuasion. Well, we got a classic example of that going on with this Zimmerman trial. Zimmerman's appearance has some of the Caucasian population so bamboozled it is laughable. They have made this a black-white issue when Zimmerman is no more white than I am. Matter of fact, Zimmerman's culture is sometimes even more hated amongst the white community. Well, I can't really say that. I was going to say that mine is. I can't put a gauge on that. Let's just say equal to. So again, to my Latino brothers and sisters out there, please don't think for 1 minute that this country loves you. It's my personal opinion that on a subliminal basis, that this is further driving a wedge between black and brown. Let me tell you something. Everybody that looks like me is not for me. And everybody that doesn't look like me is against me. Let me rephrase. There are those that look like me that I know are against me. There are those that don't look like me that I know are for what I believe in. But there is a serious, systematic method that is put in place and that is steadily being hammered home to divide black and brown. Because there are those that know if black and brown unite, Lord have mercy, for whatever your religious belief is. So there's a divide that's always being hammered. One side doesn't like the other because they feel that they're taking stuff from them. One side doesn't like the other because it's a territorial battle. And what are we really battling for? To see who can be next in line in this country? Who can sit up under the powers that be in this country? Last point to my people, period, no matter what your race is. We're kind of having a twisted sense of reality due to who's in office. President's term is not like a Supreme Court justice. The romance that we're having with this country, the nice waltz of a dance that's taking place right now, always keep your eyes open. Speaking to my people real quick, we used to be some of the most objective, some of the most we just were very distrustful when it came to the government of this country. And we had every right to be. Don't lose that objectiveness. Don't lose that sense of being able to sniff out deceitfulness. This is straight no chaser. We'll tackle a number of issues, and we'll probably do it on a weekly basis. But right now, I just felt like it was extremely important to discuss the Zimmerman trial. So much going on. To recap again, why we didn't explore the avenue of just because that possibly is not Trayvon's voice screaming for help does not negate the fact that he is still the victim. And the criminal justice system, trust me, it's not about right and wrong. It's about what you can prove. It's about how much money you got in your pocket, or how much access to money that you got in order to gain access to connections within this criminal justice system. And Latino brothers and sisters, don't be fooled. They don't care about you just as much as they don't care about me. Straight no chaser. I'll let you next time.